This is Kirk DeMars of One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got a great program, and I mean great because we got a great man on here, not just throughout mid-Missouri, but just a great man in general. And you'll find out a little bit more if you don't already know that. We've got my friend and I guess you would say Hall of Fame, Rod Smith joining us tonight. So we're excited about him being on here. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in to bring in my co-host on here from Montrose, Colorado, Jay Gill. How's it going, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing real good. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm doing good. I want to say hello to Patty McFeeters, Barnard McFeeters. She's on here. How you doing? Good to see you. We've got a good guest tonight, don't we?
We have an amazing guest. I don't think he really needs an introduction. The man is a legend himself, but I'll do my best to talk about him, that's for sure.
That's good. Hey, why don't you go ahead and talk about him a little bit right now as far as kind of your intro, and then we'll do our sponsor here in a moment.
Okay, awesome. So tonight we will be having Rod Smith, a legendary sportscaster in mid-Missouri. He's been voted the #1 local television personality probably more times than I can even count. He's been with KRCG 13 since 1985. The guy has been around forever. Sorry to age you there, Rod, but the guy's awesome. Last year he was put into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, and he was also inducted into the Missouri Basketball Hall of Fame. So his resume just speaks for itself. One thing that a lot of people might not know about Rod, he's also the busiest MCs in Missouri. He's got such a passion for local charities, and he's involved with the Heart Association Heartball, the American Cancer Society Relay for Life, Special Learning Center events, United Cerebral Palsy's Wing Ding and the Deal or No Deal. He's also with the annual YMCA and Samaritan Center benefit auction. He also led the way in support of the United Way and the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. So he enjoys his opportunity to get out there and help charities. And I just think that's an awesome thing I wanted to talk about. And if you know anything about Rod, when he's not covering sports on Tuesdays and Fridays, he's also doing Rod's Big Old Fish. And I'm sure many of you remember Rod's Big Old Fish. I remember sitting with my grandpa as a little kid, and we would always watch Rod's Big Old Fish. It was just a part of what we did. We loved it. It brought joy to my grandpa. It brought joy to me. And what was really cool was when I was a little kid, I got to be Rod's Big Old Fish when I caught a big crappie. And that was just so cool. And I've seen pictures of my wife when she was a little girl fishing with her grandpa. She was also on Rod's Big Old Fish. So I don't know. In my opinion, Rod, he might have brought us together. You know, he might be the matchmaker. We just didn't know it. So anyways, that's my spiel. That's my spiel on Rod Smith, and I'm super happy to have him on tonight. Can't wait to bring him on.
Well, that's great. That's great, Jay. I have not been on Rod's Big Old Fish because I haven't caught a big old fish. So that's just the reality of it. So, hey, we've got some great sponsors for this program. So we're going to go ahead and bring on our first one here real quick, and then we'll get right in to bringing Rod on here. I'm excited for that. So this is Paula from CNS Business Services, and she's got a good message here.
Hi, I'm Paula Benny with CNS Business Services. It has been our privilege at CNS to serve our clients and job seekers throughout this most challenging year. We continue to have a wide variety of job opportunities for anyone seeking employment, whether it is full-time, part-time, permanent, or temporary in a wide variety of fields. I encourage you to visit our website for details on all our current positions and apply online or contact CNS with questions. On behalf of the entire staff at CNS Business Services, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We really appreciate them and everything that they do, not only for Sports Locker Magazine, One Nation, but also for our community. So Paula and their team, they're just a great group of people, just like the gentleman that we're getting ready to bring on here. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Rod. How's that sound, Jay?
That sounds awesome.
All right, here we go. Hey, Rod, how you doing?
Hey, Kirk, Jay, good to see you guys. I think I ought to bring Jay around with me on all my different MC events. He could introduce. That was the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. Thank you, Jay.
No problem, Rod.
He's pretty good with
And I'm
it.
glad that you and your wife have been on Rod's Big Old Fish. And I am a little disappointed that we haven't had Kirk on. You know, you could at least just go to the Hy-Vee or something, hold up a fish, and take a picture on there, Kirk.
Hold up, yeah, I could hold up some fish that I'm getting ready to eat or something. That would be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
put you on.
Hey, we've got quite a few people coming on here already, and we have a comment from Michael Clubb, and he says, "Awesome magazine." So we appreciate that.
Oh,
Michael,
good.
And I mean, you know Michael Clubb, don't you, Rod?
I do. Now he's known as the father of Paige. And you know what? I'm also a father of Paige.
Yep.
Different, but his daughter Paige plays basketball over at South Callaway High School. And Mike is a good friend of mine. He works at Carpet Values, who's a great supporter of our Sports Locker magazine. And Mike, his daughter, is just signed on to basketball at Southern Illinois Carbondale. So that's really exciting for him. And just one of the many really good athletes we have that we get to feature in our Sports Locker magazine. I call it ours. It's really Kirk's, but I like to kind of just play along with it.
It is
I get to be a part of it.
It is a team publication, and I'm just fine with that. I don't need any notoriety. We'll just stay out of it. Hey, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have you on here. And again, with the people that are watching, we appreciate you guys watching and sharing this program. This was kind of a vision that we had, and we're excited to be able to bring that to everybody, and excited to be able to bring on people like you, Rod. And I know we've got a lot of questions for you, so I'm going to be quiet now and let Jay ask the first one. So, Jay, you go ahead.
Sounds good, Dad. Rod, honestly, first question. I just want to know where your passion for sports came from, because you obviously have a major passion for sports.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it started when I was a little kid. I played all the sports, as many of you guys did too. My dad and I, that really built our relationship. He was amazing. He was my baseball coach. We threw the football around in the backyard. He was we took extra batting practice, played catch about every day that I could remember, shot baskets in the driveway with me, and even built an ice rink in the backyard in Chicago. So I got to play hockey, played everything. And then we also had a passion for watching sports too together. We went to Chicago Cubs. I'm sorry for all the Cardinals fans out there, but we were in Chicago. So we went to Cubs games and went to Bulls games and Chicago Blackhawks, watched the Bears a lot. So that's where it came from, is I think my relationship with my dad and my grandparents, both of my grandpas were also heavy into sports. My grandpa played against the Globetrotters one time. That's a story I haven't told for a while, but it really goes back really deep. And that was just, my sister got into music. I didn't really care for piano lessons that much, so I played sports, and we had a great time with that. And I've continued that on. Yeah, I played in high school, played some sports in there, and I also have kind of brought that to my daughters too. I have 3 daughters, and they all play sports and have played them all. And we have, it's been a family thing the whole time.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great. You talked about your dad and some of the different things. Well, I know you're really close to your parents, and that's an absolute awesome thing.
Yeah.
You just got done visiting them not long ago, right?
They came through here. This COVID business has certainly changed all of our lives in a lot of ways. And one thing that I have really missed, as many of our viewers have too, is getting to spend good quality time with some of our family members. And unfortunately, I haven't seen my parents much. We usually see each other probably 4 or 5 times a year. They live in Chicago, in Naperville, a suburb of Chicago. And then they spend their winters now in Arizona. And just because of travel situations, it's been really hard for them to get going. And so, but they did come through town the other day. We spent last week together. So it was wonderful. Absolutely. And I'm thankful for technology, this all FaceTime business. We have our family FaceTime now. My sister and I and my parents meet on FaceTime every Sunday morning after we watch our church services, and then we get together, and it's really pretty special. But yeah, love my parents. They are the absolute best people in my life, along with my daughters and my wife too.
Yeah, you can go ahead and while we're just mentioning that real quick, why don't you go ahead and talk about them? And I mean, I Brooke's in town from Florida, right?
Yeah, that's another really special part of the holiday season. Is we did get Brooke back. She moved down to Florida, took a job with a school district there, and she's doing really neat work with kids down there, helping out in some tough situations for kids. And she is back here to visit for a while. She came back for Thanksgiving, and we had we had well, it was a bad thing to begin with. Our dog of 14 years passed away this year, so that was the really sad thing. Riley, we lost her, but we got another dog, and then we got two sister dogs for our daughters, and they got dogs. So we have three little York now, and we're all in the same house together right now, as everybody's back here for the holidays. And so we got three little yippy dogs running around, but they're great. They're a lot of fun. So Brooke is from Florida. She lives down near Clearwater, not too far from Tampa, which is the home of the Super Bowl this year. And I'm hoping to be down there with the Chiefs if they make the Super Bowl, which Jay's already guaranteed that, I believe, on an earlier show, right? Didn't you say that, Jay? They're going to make it?
Oh, they're making it. Absolutely.
Okay. So, yeah, she lives down there in Tampa. And then my daughter, Paige, who's very involved with the Sports Locker magazine and also working on her graduate degree at Columbia College now, and is a tennis coach at Bath School in Columbia. She's our youngest daughter. And then our oldest daughter is Brittany. She works in the Jeff City Public School Systems. She's a teacher over at Lewis and Clark, loves her kids. She's got a real passion for that. And it's a really great fit for her. She's my golf partner. She and I played a lot of golf through the years, played college golf, high school golf, and we still play. She's my secret weapon, man. When I put together a 4-person scramble team, if I get to choose, she's the one I want on my team because she can hit the ball really far. And when you have her on your team, you got advantage. That's the thing I mentioned, Kirk, is I found in parenting, and believe me, I'm not, I don't get really into this knowing exactly how you're supposed to parent. But one simple truth that I learned a long time ago is find what your kids enjoy doing and do it with them. I did that with my daughter, Brittany. We played golf a lot. We built our relationship with that. For my daughter, Paige, for my daughter, Brooke, she loves softball with her friends. Their teams for 10 years, and we built that relationship, our time together playing softball and coaching softball. And then for my daughter, Paige, I also coached softball for her, but she got too good, so she went on to have a coach, a traveling team and that kind of stuff. But we also spent our time around horses. I gave in, third child, she wanted a horse, and I got her a horse. But we spent time together out in the fields with the horse. That was some of those most valuable time I'd ever spent, away from the world of sports, away from other things are going on, just with my daughter, her horse, and I felt like they were with us, and we had such a great time with these horses over the years. Now we're past that. She's been too busy, so we sold the horses, but we have those great memories.
That's awesome. Hey, we've got some people making comments on here, and I do want to encourage everybody that if you have any questions for Rod, or you just want to make a comment on what you appreciate about him, we would love to have that. But we got Christy Brennicky Kimna says love Sports Locker magazine and the best sportscaster around, Rod Smith. So we
Thank you, Christy. Very nice.
And Greg and Tanner and all them at Kimna Collision Repair, and we appreciate all that they do for supporting the magazine in our community. So, and also their daughter Abby writes for the magazine as well.
Yeah,
she has a
great family, and
they
I just got a Christmas card from them. Those Kimnas, they're all right. Great people.
Yeah, very good. Hey Jay, let's go ahead and move on into your next question, sir.
Yeah, I will say, Rod, since I do have 4 kids and some younger ones at that, I appreciate your advice. Something they enjoy and do it with them. I always love finding sage wisdom, so I'm going to take that one to heart. So I just wanted to say thank you. That's awesome. Actually very wise. So I appreciate that. I did want to get into, I just kind of wanted to hear about your education and why you decided to go into journalism.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do anything else, Jay. I'm just not very smart, so I picked out talking about sports. The truth of the matter is, I went to college. I went to Oral Roberts University. I wanted to do something in life. I thought business at the time was my major. I was actually an accounting major. I didn't do too well with numbers, so why would I want to be an accountant, you know? So I got out of that. I got into the TV business. It was something that was a little more interesting to me. But I went to ORU. I wanted to, faith is really important in my life, and I wanted to, whatever I did in life, I wanted to share Jesus. And I thought, he kind of gave me a vision that I could do that through sports and being involved. And it's pretty amazing how God works in your life. It really is how he can do that. And I think I've, done part of his work and probably messed up several times, but it's given me an opportunity to be involved in, you were so nice, Jay, when you talked about all the different things I'm involved in. And all of those are really special to me because they're people in our community that some of them need some help. And I'm so glad that I knew that God has given me to help in a little bit in their way. And anyway, so that's how I got to school at ORU and I studied business and I enjoyed that. I had some great professors, but I found that I really enjoyed sports a lot. So I thought I would try the television down there. They had a really good television and journalism school. I don't really consider myself a great journalist. I think I'm a decent sportscaster, and I think I enjoy relationships and covering sports. But as far as doing, really in-depth stories and getting down and doing some of that stuff, I don't think I'm the good at that. But by golly, I like going out to a football game and covering a football game and being a part of the kids' lives and the coaches' lives and the relationships that I built through that. So so I got involved in sports that way in my education. Yeah, I wasn't a great student though, Jay. Just that, okay.
Well, I'll tell you, everyone I know, and you can see from the comments, people really appreciate you, Rod, because you are a fantastic sportscaster, and I'll say you're a fantastic journalist on top of that. Kind of snowballing off your career there, I just find this super interesting. KRCG 1985, what brought you there?
Yeah, I think, Jay, you said in the introduction that makes me really old or something like that. I can't remember exactly how you phrased that. But
I said I wasn't trying to age you. I wasn't trying to age you, but
that's right. It does. It's hard to believe. I can't believe it's been that long. I really can't. I still felt, until I got decked on the sideline about 2 years ago and broke my leg, I was really feeling young. But now I do feel a little bit of the age. But it is hard to believe. 85, that is a long time. I started in 1985. A lot of people remember that year because that was the Cardinals and Royals playing in the World Series together. Jay, you probably weren't even born yet, but anyway, it was the Cardinals and Royals, and that was one of the first things I got to do. I got to go cover the World Series the first year out of college. It was unbelievable, and
awesome.
It is hard to believe. Yeah, the thing that I realized the other day, when Vienna High School in mid-Missouri won a state softball championship, they have a coach named Mick Bird, who's a great man. He would be a really good guest on this show too, by the way. He's an incredible individual. He has been coaching for 40 years at the same school. So what made me a little bit old was that he's the only coach in mid-Missouri that is still coaching from the time I took my job here. The only guy that's coaching at the same school. Which is, it makes me, man, it looks like my face is frozen on there. Boy, that's crazy. So anyway, it's been a long run, and it is hard to believe that it has been that long. What, 35 years, if my math is right? 35. I used to do accounting, I should know. 35 years. And that's hard to believe. And at some point, I think that, the job has changed a lot. Now we're having to do all this social stuff, which quite honestly is not very comfortable for me. Mm-hmm. I really spent the first 23 years, and I marked that year 23 years because of something special that happened in my life. 23 years, I did this job, and I thought, I kept to myself. I was kind of private and just went home, and nobody knew anything about what I did in my off time. Now with the social media thing, I'm supposed to be out there and I'm supposed to share everything I do on Facebook and Twitter and so forth. Now, I thought I was a really dull person back for those first 23 years. Now I think I'm sort of interested because I've gotten fired. I got rehired by the same company. I broke my leg, and I came back. So there's a few interesting things that have happened in 35 years.
You've had a few things that have gone on, and that has been this past year has been really something else. I mean, we've had some different people. I think that all of us have known that we lost due to COVID or
Yeah.
other things, and one of them that I was just thinking about a little bit tonight and talking to you about was Coach Kevin Kohler, who was also just recently the director for Council for Drug Free Youth. He was very active in the community, and again, we just want to reach out to his family and all those that were close to him, and just say, he is definitely missed, but we know where he is today, and that's
Amen.
you were talking about your faith, and Kevin was a man of faith as well, and we know where he is, and so. But tell us a little bit, Rod, about how difficult it's been as far as covering sports in this environment.
Yeah, I sure will. And to speak on that too, Kevin was a dear person to so many people in mid-Missouri. I knew him as a basketball coach at California High School. I knew him at prep. He would call in scores, we'd talk, and just a genuinely wonderful person and a strong man of faith, and really touched a lot of lives. And we are so sorry to see him go so early. But this has been a challenging year, Kirk and Jay. It has certainly been different as far as, we went several months without having anything sports-wise. So you remember I did things on Facebook Live. The station allowed me to go out. They actually came to me and said, we don't have many sports to cover. Why don't you go out? And since we're talking about all of this bad news all day long, why don't you go out and find some good things? Why don't you go out and be your positive self in businesses and promote some good things that are happening? So I did that. I think I did over 100 of those things. I went around to businesses and I shared and kind of shared how we can help out local businesses that were, having to bear the brunt of this, restaurants and so forth. And I met so many great people that way, people that I knew, but sometimes life was going along so fast that we didn't have time to really spend much time with them. So, built on some relationships there. That was interesting. Then we did some interesting things. Well, we had Rod's Big Old Fish like every night. So spent a little time on sports. And then we did student athletes of the week is what we've done for years. Well, we had the student athletes of the night. We did the senior class of 2020 did not have a year like they had wanted or expected. So we tried to highlight as many student athletes as we could and give them a little positive exposure. And we found lots of sports features. We did more sports feature stories in that 3-4 month period around April through August. That in those 3 months we did probably more than we had done in the last 3 years. Our guys were pretty busy doing that. So we found ways to fill time and to do some interesting things. And we were hoping we'd get sports. And you know what? It was a good thing. Coach Blake, I just saw this comment on here. He said we got the coaches bracket. That's right. We did these brackets. Since we didn't have the NCAA bracket to fill out, I had somebody tell me, you ought to try these brackets for something else, different things. So we did an all-time best coaches bracket from mid-Missouri, and I picked out 64 of the top that I had ever covered in my 35 years here. We put them in a bracket, and it ended up Pete Adkins against Ray Henches. Two of the
That's awesome.
It was great. And we had so many votes. I mean, thousands and thousands of people voting on that because they didn't have much else to do, I'm sure, during the pandemic. So we did that. And then what else did we do? Oh, we did the sports personality of Missouri. And what was interesting is we had Lou Brock and Bob Gibson, George Brett, and Len Dawson, and all these guys from the Chiefs and the Rams, Kurt Warner, the Rams, and so forth, the Cardinals and Royals. And we had voting, started with 64 in the bracket. So you vote on those, and then we get to 32 and 16. And so we promote that on the air. And the interesting thing is, I think it was, Ozzie Smith against Tom Hankey in the finals. Tom Hankey, our local hero from Taos, Missouri. Well, Tom really wasn't the best athlete in Missouri of all time, but he won our voting because everybody around here loves Tom.
That's right.
So he won that. I think we did one more bracket, and it skips my mind right now. But we did some creative things those times. But, my hope and prayer was that the kids would be able to safely get back into play this fall. And thank God we actually got the full football season in, the soccer season in. Saw my friend Scott Blake watching this. I know you had him on, Kirk, the other day. And I'm so glad for those kids, 17 seniors who got a chance to go to the Final Four because we got a chance to play the games. And it was really a rewarding fall for us. We don't take these games for granted anymore. We don't take practices for granted anymore. I was out at practices today, and those kids are so happy that they get to play in a holiday basketball tournament. We won't have the great 8, not having teams from out of town come in, out of state, but we are having 4 teams from mid-Missouri playing here at Jefferson School over the holidays.
Yeah, I think everybody's done a great job as far as trying to pull everything together and do what they can. And I know that there's some stuff, some backlash from different things, but everybody's doing the best they can to make this as safe as possible, as well as providing the experience. So hopefully we'll be through this here pretty soon. I'm just believing that we will. You talked about great businesses. And before we go on any further with the last segment of the program, we want to go ahead and quickly recognize our other sponsor for the program, and it's Diesel Power Plus with Delton and Ashley Rissler. So we're going to go ahead and play their video real quick, and then we'll come back, and Jay will be ready for another question.
Bow before him, bow before my Lord. Let every nation bow before him, bow before my Lord. Rulers and kingdoms will adore and bow before my Lord.
So, Rod, what do you think about that horn? Isn't that awesome? Don't you need one for your car?
I need one of those, yeah.
Well, if you know Delton, if you've never met Delton, he does have one of those on his truck, and I could hear him coming from a long ways off. So they are great people out there in California. And on April the 17th, they are having the Crossroads Truck Show. And I just want to throw that out there for everybody. And I'll get out and talk with Delton here real soon. He'll tell us a little bit more about that. But we appreciate both Diesel Power Plus and CNS Business Services for being our sponsor for the program. With that, we are running out of time really quickly. I'm going to go probably about 6 more minutes. So, Jay, go right at the next question.
You got it. Yeah, I'm watching the time, and I'm sorry, we're with legendary Rod Smith. What do you want us to do? Rush this thing? We can't do that. The viewers want more Rod. So I kind of a 2-part question, but 2 things that I think are super interesting. I kind of want to know the difference, because you do write for Sports Locker as well, the difference between covering sports like when you're on TV, and then you have to cover sports in a magazine. I'm just kind of curious your thought process and how you navigate through the 2 different fields there. And then I also want to talk about, you get to work with Paige with Sports Locker magazine, and I'm just curious, like, what are some highlights of that? And throw Paige under the bus here. Do you love working with your daughter? Is that fun for you? I'm just kind of wanting to hear about that.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I'm going to answer that one first. That one's the easiest one. I absolutely love working with Paige. I'm so thankful that Kirk gave us the opportunity to do some things together. And it's really Paige doing it. I just help out a little bit because I've had all these relationships for 30 plus years around mid-Missouri. So I've been able to, help out in giving her some tips on who to talk to. And she'll ask, how can I find out more about this school or whatever. And it's been so much fun. And then we even go to the community. Sometimes I help her hand out the magazines to the schools and to the businesses that helps her. So we have made so many good friends through this. I mean, it's kind of like my sports job. It's just I'm meeting different people because I'm so used to seeing the coaches and building relationships with those people. But now, so many business owners who really care about their communities and really care about the kids in their schools. And Paige has really, found a real niche with that, and I think it's fun to see that. She's really met some neat people through this. It's been a real blessing, and she's also grown up a lot through it. Dealing with business and dealing with schedules and working with people and so forth. So that's been great. As far as the TV and the magazine, they really help each other in a lot of ways. I am so ingrained though into getting things, at the moment, because I'll go on sometimes at 10:20 and I don't have my scripts done until 10:18. So whereas the magazine business, you got a little more time there to make sure everything's perfect. But what gets me, and Kirk always probably gives me a hard time on this, is that I want the last minute details before it goes to print. But Kirk wants the things in like a month before. It's a different business, I realize that. But I really enjoy the opportunity to do our top 10s and our elite eights and to because a lot of these teams, and this issue coming up, we're going to have some special pages promoting these teams that have won state championships. I'd have to rack my brain, but I don't remember a better year than 2020 fall as far as state championship teams that we've had in. I won't go over them because I know we don't have time, but just check out the magazine. We got some really neat stuff, and I'm happy that we get to salute these teams that have been so good in this crazy year of 2020.
It has been quite a year, and again, we appreciate your work with us and your representation of the magazine. I've told not only my wife but Jay and Katie as well as the rest of our team is, it's good to have people that you can trust and that they're going to be a good representation, and you guys are that, and we appreciate all that. So it's good. I mean, because sometimes you just don't know who you have out there, and I know who I have out there. So that's a good thing. We have had quite a few people logging on and watching here tonight. I would love to run through and list their names, but we are so thankful for you guys watching, and we're going to continue to do this every Monday night. And of course, we're going to have Rod come on again with a lot of other things we're going to talk about. Hopefully, this next issue that comes out, maybe he can talk a little bit about that when we have it come out. I don't want to do a spoiler alert or anything like that tonight, because there's just a lot of good stories in there. Rod, you know this as far as covering sports. It is hard to be able to get every deserving kid in there. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's impossible. It really is. And we fight every night. I wish I had enough manpower to go out and get all of our schools. We actually cover a radius of about 60 miles for KRCG, and that includes about 60 high schools, and then about 5, 6, 7 colleges, I guess, if you go into Marshall and so forth, and Missouri Rolla. But it's impossible, and the longer I do this, man, I work hard at it. I like to go out to the games, but the economics of it, we can't hire enough people to get to everywhere. And plus, they only give me 5 minutes anyway for sports, so I couldn't fill up much more than 5 anyway. Thankfully, tonight we had about 30 minutes, didn't we? This is fantastic.
And we still didn't have enough time. Yeah. That's why we're going to have you on again. And again, thank you so much for being on here. If you'll hold on until after we're done with the program, we'll visit with you a few more minutes. Again, thank you to everybody that was watching. Thank you to CNS Business Services and Diesel Power Plus for sponsoring the program. Jay, we're going to go ahead and go on out here. I'll let you have that final word that you always like to have for some reason. So we're going to go do that.
Sports Locker Nation, we really appreciate you tuning in tonight. This has been One Nation and SLM Extra with Kirk DeMars, Jay Gill, and then obviously the legend, Rod Smith. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've had an awesome time.
Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you next week.